Hello, Julie here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is an art journal page. It's a very whimsical art journal page. I'm using my Happy Planner notebook. I wanted a disc-bound journal, so what I've done is I've stuck two pages together and gessoed one side of the page. Using this notebook allows me to take the page out, work on the page and then put it back into the book. I'm going to use this image as my focal point on this art journal page. I found this image in a book. I decided for my background I'm going to use pan pastels. I have had my pan pastels for some time and only used them once before, so I thought it was about time to give them another run. I have found that the pan pastels do apply nicely over the top of gesso, so I'm using phthalo blue tint, turquoise, orange shade, permanent green tint, handsy yellow and bright yellow green, just randomly over the background of the page. I'm going for pastel colours because I want this to be sort of like a nursery style colours. I'm using one of the foam pads that you can buy from the pan pastel people. It's a fairly solid foam and it spreads the pastels around very nicely. They're a powder and they need to be fixed once you've applied the colour, but I'll get to that when we get that far. So here I am just applying colour to the background. As I mentioned earlier, the pan pastels have to be sealed onto the page. Here I'm just giving it a light spray with some water, just plain water, nothing else in the bottle, and allowing that to dry. This will set the colour onto the page. Now that the water has dried, I've decided that the colour is a bit too light and I am going to apply another coat of the same coloured pan pastels, well, only a few of them. I'm going to apply another coat of those and then give it another spray of water to seal it. I'm going to continue with the whimsical style now. I'm going to use this Crafters Workshop TCW81 Swirls and Dots stencil and this Faber-Castell Texture Luxe in Pearl. I have had this for ages, haven't used it, and decided that it would be ideal for this page. So I'm going to use my palette knife and put the Texture Luxe through the stencil. You'll see when I lift the stencil up that some of the paste got under the stencil. I prefer if that doesn't happen, but it has happened, so there's not much I can do about that at this stage, so I'm just going to go with the flow. For my focal point, I'm going to use this unicorn. As I said earlier, I got this out of a book, a children's book actually, that has a lot of illustrations of animals. So I've photocopied the photo onto some watercolour paper, onto the smooth side of the watercolour paper. And I'm going to use my Semco pearlescent watercolours so that I'm sticking with the whimsical type of theme. I'm going to colour and shade the unicorn. I'm going to use white and grey on the unicorn itself, pink for a hair and a rainbow horn. You can see the beautiful sheen that you get from these pearlescent watercolours. Once my watercolour paint was dry, I used my scissors and fussy cut the unicorn. I wanted to add some more detail to the background before I stuck my unicorn down, so I used this, I'm not quite sure what you'd call it, it looks a bit like snowflakes or Sputniks or firecrackers, not sure what you'd call it, stamp, and I used Stays On ink to just lightly stamp in the background. I didn't want too much black because I didn't want the black to overpower the pale colours of the layout. I then used my Encore Gold stamp pad and using the same stamp basically covered the whole background with the gold ink pad, gold stamp. Now that I'm happy with the background, I use my Matisse Gel Medium, which is a matte finish, and I attach my unicorn to my background. I put a layer of the matte medium on the back of the unicorn and then give it a coat on the top of the unicorn. If I hadn't sealed my pan pastels, when I put this coat on the top, I would have smudged all of my background, but it went down quite nicely because it had been sealed. I found that by using the matte medium on top of my unicorn, I lost all my pearlescent shine, so I'm now going to go over it again with my pearlescent water paints, just give it one quick coat to bring that pearlescent sheen back. Now that my watercolour's dry, it's time to give my unicorn a bit of definition, so I'm using my food ball in the black to go over all of the black lines that were on, or all of the thick black lines that were on the original picture. Using my Stabilo All pencil in black and a wet brush, I then go around my unicorn and apply some shadows to give the unicorn a bit of a lift so that it looks like it's actually lifting up off of the page and becomes part of the page and just instead of just being stuck there. I also use my black oil pencil to give the page a border. I add the fine black detail to the unicorn using my Mitsubishi Uniball Eye Micro Black Fine Line pen. I use my food ball pen to add a bit of scribbly detail to the border over where I've put the black oil pencil. This just makes it a bit more whimsical and adds a bit of detail and thickens up the border a little bit without it being too heavy. For my title, I decided to use this Sizzix die. It's called Cherish, and I used the die and some black cardstock to cut the message Believe in Magic, and I'm going to use my liquid glue to attach that to my page. So that's my completed page for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. If you have, please subscribe to my channel and share my video with your friends. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for spending your time here with me today, and I hope to see you on my next video.